Speaking of skill, showcase your value without bragging.
Yeah. This is
I
where
struggle with that one.
this is where I started to associate it with sales. That you could take sales techniques and put it into your working world and everything. And think about the worst fucking salespeople that you've dealt with. I'm swearing a lot. I apologize to the listeners, so fuck you.
Not for children.
Yeah. Think about the worst salespeople that you just want to walk away from.
Yeah.
What are they like? They're braggadocious. They're like, look at everything, like everything's fucking perfect, and you need to do this because you need what I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't come off.
And that turns me off, and I immediately shut down. And
yeah, it's sales. It's not, if you're trying to like lead a team or influence others to work with you or whatever. I mean, it's like they say here, it's about credibility. Like, how do you build real credibility? I mean, one way is to just do something forever in an industry. But I mean, even then, you could be known for doing something bad forever. You know what I mean? Like, how do you build that credibility? Like, how do you become the Gandalf?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you get there? Yeah. So they got a couple points. One of them: don't wait for others to ask you for guidance and advice. Contribute your ideas. I think that's a good one. You have to manage how you do that. I think you don't want to be the know-it-all.
Yes,
because you can be doling out advice and how-tos and come off as a know-it-all, or you can tell it in a way that's like, well, let me tell you about this time I fucked something up.
Right.
That's sort of my go-to. Let me tell you about a time when something didn't go well for me.
Yeah.
These are the things that I did wrong, and this is what I would do to do it better.
Yeah.
Even, this is going to sound crazy, sometimes I just lie. And I say I messed something up by doing it the opposite of the way that I'm trying to explain to do it. Just because I want to make that accessible, and I don't want to come off as like...
Yeah, because I've never made that fucking mistake that you just did.
Yeah.
However, well, we can pretend for a moment.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, there's something that I have to say to somebody within the next week about how they handled a situation that, like, I was there as well, and I felt really uncomfortable, and to where I just wanted to leave the conversation. And it seemed to keep getting worse. But I also knew that, like, if I were to intercede in the moment or even in any type of group setting afterwards, things would not go well.
Right, sure.
But I also realized that I was not the only person that felt uncomfortable with it. And so then, but I also know that there's nobody else that's actually going to say something to that person. And so, like, nobody's going to help. It's up to me, because I don't want to go through that again. And so, I've got to figure out how to say without it over, like, you were really rude.
Yeah.
Because then it's me coming off as being rude, even though you were the
preaching,
one that, right. To say, like, hey, I even thought, like, hey, you and I, didn't see eye to eye on things before.
Yeah.
And, and so when we did that, our conversations were not good. And I'm sure anybody else in the room, and I've had,
would be uncomfortable.
Yeah. I felt that.
Yeah.
With what we were doing the other day.
Yeah.
And, and that's like, so, I don't have to make that up. That was the one that I could say, like, how we felt about each other, and we figured out how to work through that. This is something that we probably need, like, is there any way that I could help you with that? Because obviously,
yeah, I mean, for sure.